Cool. And Cody, do you want to do a quick introduction, then we'll get straight into the interview?
Yeah, I'm super hyped to be here. Sorry, I was just on Twitter, like trying to get as many people in this room as possible. I love this room. I've been hanging out here over the last couple of days, and even when I'm not on the stage, I've just been listening. And it's just so amazing to be around other people who are doing what you're doing. I live in a smaller town in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, in the United States, and there's definitely video creators and videographers, cinematographers around here. There's a community, but for the most part, they're all working throughout the day, right? So and then with COVID, it's just harder to hang out with people anyway. So there's just something so crazy amazing about the creative energy that this room fuels, Will. So thanks for creating it, man, and thanks for inviting me on the panel today. I'm super hyped. I'm a videographer. I did go to film school. Now I primarily make stuff on YouTube, and I still do some freelance stuff, but that's mostly just editing tutorials and stuff for clients around the world, which is super crazy to me. And yeah, I make videos on a YouTube channel called CODY WANNER, and try to have adventures and fun and all that stuff. And like I said, super happy to be here.
Thanks very much, Cody. I would just like to remind the audience during the interview section, only the moderators and Cody will be on stage, so please hold your hands down for the first hour. During the second hour, you will be invited on stage to ask questions one at a time, because we have got to keep an eye out for trolls. If you haven't got your Twitter and Instagram connected so we can check out who you are, you will not be invited on stage, because we are trying to avoid trolls in this room. So, Cody, starting at the very beginning, dude, where did you grow up?
So I grew up in very close to where I live now currently, about 45 minutes away, a little town called York, Pennsylvania, and moved around a couple times, but always stayed in York. And yeah, that was back. I was born in 1986, so that was a couple of years ago. But then moved up here to where I currently live during and after college.
Great. So, where did you where did you go for your education?
I went to a small school, liberal arts school called Messiah College, and it did have a film program, but it was it wasn't a dedicated program. It was a concentration of the broader communication degree. So technically, my degree is communication with the concentration in film. But as a part of that program, I did get to go over to a much bigger school in Philadelphia called Temple University, and I finished out my degree there, kind of as a part of that program. So that was a rad experience.
That's awesome. All right, cool. So when did you first pick up a camera and start creating content?
Probably 50% of the people in this room, I started making videos with skateboarding. So I started skating in, I think, 6th grade. Got a skateboard, loved it, was never as good as any of my friends. And as often is the case, when you're able to ride, but not performing the level of tricks as your friends, a great role for you is to hold the camera. So I started shooting 6th or 7th grade on a Sony Handycam that took not mini DV, actually. It was even before that. It was high 8 or digital 8 tapes, and shooting on I guess we didn't have that wide angle adapter that everybody else had that made stuff look super cool and fisheye. So probably shooting I'd say 24 millimeter equivalent. But yeah, just fell in love with the idea that you could go out and have fun, record some of it, come back later and watch that stuff that you recorded, cut together all of the coolest, all of the highlights, and make a little skate video. We burnt DVDs, we cut a video together, burnt DVDs, and sold them for $5 a piece in my high school. I think we sold like a solid maybe four or five of those puppies, and like, you know, making bank right from the beginning, securing the bag, as you would say, in the room. And that was that was the but yeah, that was what started for me. And then stopped skating in like end of ninth year, going into sophomore year in high school. And but still, you know, still loved the whole idea of like capturing moments and then making these recap videos. So I'd make summer summer recap videos with me and all my friends, like swimming and playing frisbee, and, you know, going cliff jumping at nearby creeks and cliffs and stuff, like just anything exciting, fighting, you know, a lot of, as most of most of you probably recorded, like fighting, like basement boxing matches, recorded a couple broken noses and weird stuff like that. And then after I graduated from high school, before I went to university, I traveled for 5 months, and I was in Turkey for 2 of those months and made 4 kind of different style recap videos from that whole traveling experience with for everybody that I was with. And I still look back on those like super fondly. But while I was traveling, my dad called me or texted me or whatever. I guess he called me back then and was like, "Hey, are you going to go to university? Because you have like 1 day left for us to put in a deposit." And decided I did want to go because, you know, I felt like maybe a degree could give me more opportunities to go to cool places and film cool stuff, like work for National Geographic or, you know, something rad. So yeah, that just really fell into university then. I'm kind of conflicted on film school. Like it had like a lot of amazing things that happened, and the connections and the friends. I met my wife there and all of that sort of thing. But at the same time, you know, I guess conceptually I'm still using some stuff that we skimmed over in film school. But, you know, definitely technically the game changed like 6 months even after I graduated, just because of how the technology in like that era, like I learned on 16 millimeter film, like that was our primary, that was kind of the primary method that we were being taught, was like film. And there's a lot of amazing stuff to learn there, don't get me wrong, but, you know, now film is a stylistic look and choice, you know. So yeah, that's been my history of training and starting and learning.
That's great. So you mentioned you're a skater. I like skating myself, so I'm curious, who is your favorite skater?
There's a guy from Philadelphia. I think he does still skate, but there's actually this super dope. I didn't see this until adulthood. There's this super dope Vice documentary. It's probably like 24 minutes on him. His name's Stevie Williams, and you know, I grew up in Philadelphia skating at Love Park, which is like at least around here, that's like a pretty epic East Coast skate spot there. If in Tony Hawk Pro Skater 1, you could actually skate in Love Park, you know. And I actually never got to skate there. It got pretty heavily policed like before I got into the skating scene. But yeah, Stevie Williams is my guy.
That's dope, man. That's a pretty cool answer. You into BMX and stuff as well, or is it just a skateboarding?
I never got into BMX. I was I mean, I actually was into BMX before skateboarding. When I was like maybe 8 or 9, I had like this little mini BMX bike. My dad would take me to a track and you know, just like steamroll down the hill. But in adulthood, I have dabbled with some mountain biking and some street biking, which I really love. But yeah, I mean, any extreme sport, man. Snowboarding, parkour, like I love all that stuff. But I'm totally just like a hobbyist, an enthusiast. I'm not a pro or anywhere near a pro at any of those things.
All right, another quick skating question. We'll move along. What is your favorite skating trick?
Nah, dude, I could talk about skating all day. Like everyone could just leave if they don't want to. No, I'm just kidding. We're not gonna talk about skating all day. But favorite trick, is the ollie, man. I mean, so like that maybe that gives you a bit of a hint into like my ability as a skater, right? But I could do like I could never do a 360 flip. I've never landed one of those in my life, but I could do a kick flip, a heel flip, pop shove it, like some of the more basic tricks. But my style was always, I'd love to go find like a set of stairs and just ollie stairs. It broke both my ankles ollieing a 7 stair when I was in 10th grade. And but yeah, I just love trying to, like, 7 stair isn't big, but in my mind and like in my pursuit in skating, I never got into the more technical tricks. I just was doing like 50-50 grinds and 5-0s, and then and I just love trying to jump big stuff and jump up and jump down off of stuff with the tradition, the basic ollie.
That's dope, man. So that obviously transitioned you into filming, and you mentioned that you went to film school. So obviously you're taught, and we've been having quite a lot of debates in this room recently about self-taught versus having a degree. Which do you think is more important?
Oh, snap.
Nice.
Sorry, I meant to hit the add button, and I hit the peace out button because it's so cool. It's just like this little emoji down there. It's like got the little peace hands, and it's just like, it's so easy to accidentally hit that instead of the plus sign, which is just black and white. My bad. That is a great way to phrase the question, which is more important, because it's not as much like about what's better. Like, they're both good. They both have great components, but I think I know the most important aspect of filmmaking is being able to teach yourself stuff. Because like I said, like, we studied components of story a bit in school, but the tech that we are using and the lights that we are using, or even just had access to, like, just the actual production elements that I was taught in film school are just completely different. It's the same concepts, but completely different tech. So the ability to teach yourself or just learn, like, but self-directed learning on YouTube or whatever, Skillshare, or however you get your information. I just think that that's so much more crucial. And it even, I'll take it a step further and say, like, when you launch your own business, whether it's wedding video or, other sort of event video or commercial video, whatever you're doing, but you're working for yourself, starting off as a freelancer. And then even as you grow, like, it's all self-direct, right? You're teaching yourself how to do all of this stuff when it comes to bookkeeping and client meetings and best marketing strategies and sales meetings and all this stuff. Like, I often say, if I would do it again, I probably would go to school and get a business degree, and then, and teach myself filmmaking on the side, as opposed to what I did, which was I went to school and got a film degree, and then I had to teach myself business on the side, which I think traditional education has a much better, and maybe this is arguable too, but traditional education, I think, has a much better understanding of what's needed for like technical business growth and business skill and acumen. Then I think you can apply traditional education better to business than you can to filmmaking, which is more of a always changing, always adapting sort of art form. So what's more important? Long answer to a short question. What's more important is being able to teach yourself, is the self-taught crowd. I love and admire the self-taught crowd.
That's great, man. So after film school, how long was it before you came up with the No Small Creators brand?
There was a bunch in between there. I'll break it down a little bit further. So the short answer to that would be like 9 years maybe. But the longer answer is, got out of school and really just wanted to start making money, like wanted to try out the, traditional sort of 9-to-5 salary position thing. And I, it was what was best for my family. It just felt like culturally that was at least give that a shot, you know? And I sort of knew before doing that I wasn't really cut out for it. I had an inkling that I wasn't really cut out for that, but yeah, like I said, just culturally and family culture and all that stuff, it just made sense to give it a shot. So I got a job in fundraising for the school that I graduated from, and I held that job for 2.5 years. I was doing, especially near the end, a couple of like side freelance video projects, and like a big one that I did was an animation project, which I had no idea how to animate, or I like bit off way more than I can chew, but it was many like long nights and early mornings just trying to figure out how to use, I think I was using Apple Motion to try to do this project, which still exists, and it's not great, but it's, you know, it's passable. But yeah, did that for 2.5 years. Went to Thailand at the end of that spurt of having a traditional job, took like 2 weeks vacation, went to Thailand, and we were working with a couple organizations that were in the fight against human trafficking and forced prostitution. And I did make some video content out of that, but it's more just like interview stuff with the people that I was there with. But while I was there in Thailand, just got super clear on the idea that I did not want to be in a traditional job. I wanted to be having more adventures. I wanted to be like working my own systems and structures, and like figuring out how to do stuff on my own and make my own money. So I got back from that trip and quit that job, resigned from that job, that salary job, and went out freelance, started doing just basically whatever I could, like freelance video, freelance photo. I got into wedding photos first before I got into wedding video. You know, I had a Canon T3i or something, and I was shooting wedding photos with that, and also did some freelance sales for this buddy of mine had a web development company, just a small, you know, it's just him, but I was selling websites for him, or at least trying to sell websites. And then, as you know, I sort of saw the writing on the wall that the thing that was making me the most money was the photo and video work that I was doing. Started to really more heavily focus on that, and partnered up with 2 of my classmates that I had graduated with. They moved back in the area, partnered up with them, and we created this company called Cap Collective Video Production. Cap not standing for anything other than Harrisburg is the capital city of Pennsylvania, and made that into an LLC, 50-50 partnership. Me and this other couple, they owned half and I owned half, and started to build that primarily with weddings. And then we did shift like almost completely into commercial. And then at the end of 2017, started a vlog. I had felt very strongly about wanting to start a vlog for like 2 years leading up to that, but in 2017 got my stuff in gear and started vlogging. And then No Small Creator, the brand, came out of that vlog around maybe close to 100 days into it. The idea behind No Small Creator being on YouTube. So I know not everybody's like from the YouTube scene in here, so I'll just explain this. On YouTube, like there's a term called small creator. It's not anything negative. It doesn't mean, they didn't mean it to be mean, but it's just like, if you have a channel that's under a certain size, then you're considered a small creator, as opposed to like PewDiePie with 100 million subscribers. Like he is not a small creator. So there's no line, you know, but it just like smaller channels are put in this category called small creators. And I was making this video, and I was like trying to pitch Boosted Board to like send out a bunch of Boosted Boards to some small creators, quote unquote, air quotes. And in that video, I just was saying the word small creator so much, and I just hate it. I hate the idea that small creator puts in your head, like small creation. Like to anybody in this room knows how it feels to take a vision that you have inside of your head and then bring that thing to life, whether it's for a client or for your own YouTube channel or for TikTok or whatever it is. There's nothing small about the process of trying to take something inside your head and put it out into the world. And so, small creator is just misleading. So like small YouTuber, that's fine. A YouTuber with a small channel, that's fine. A creator who has a smaller YouTube channel, that's all fine. But don't call me or any of my friends small creators. So that's where the concept No Small Creator came from. And made a Facebook group and a hashtag on YouTube and Twitter and stuff and Instagram, and people started rallying behind it because it resonated with the concept. So Facebook group still exists to this day. It's got like 5,000 people in it, and pretty strict rules. Like most of them are YouTubers, and pretty strict rules on like not being able to share links or spam links, and unless you sort of do this go through the rigmarole of making a teaser for it. But yeah, it's all about just trying to support each other in the sometimes hard and very resiliency building process of growing a YouTube channel.
Oh, that's great. You sound like a real busy guy. So I'm curious, have you ever actually experienced burnout? And if you did, how did you overcome it?
Yeah, I mean, I think so. In 2018, when I was daily vlogging, I would say I didn't really expand it, maybe until near the very end of the year. But even that, like the end was in sight. It's like when you're working out and like you only have 2 minutes left of the workout. Like it's almost easier because you can see the end is in sight. You can almost push harder because like I'm going to be able to finish soon. So at some point I realized I'm going to stop. I'm going to stop daily vlogging at the end of this year. So that it was just like, it was the ending push. And I just tried to make all those videos really rad and had a bunch of ideas that I wanted to try to get done before I ended the daily vlog. So didn't experience it then, but I would say then after I stopped daily vlogging, burnout sort of started to creep in because I wasn't in that day in and day out mentality of today I got to make something, and I think, who is it? Maybe it's Gary Vee, who's like, or maybe it's Grant Cardone. It's like if you want to meet the devil, just leave blank space on your calendar. It's almost like when you slow down, that's when all of these like negative thoughts and I'm not even good at this and all of that stuff starts to creep in. And that for me is really the fuel, like the kindling of burnout, is when I start to question my own ability or compare myself to other people or all of that stuff, like the imposter syndrome stuff. That's really the kindling for the fire that is, I don't want to do this anymore, and this is really hard. So overcoming it, for me, man, like the biggest way to overcome that stuff is all about the community of people, whether it's on YouTube. I found a massive community of filmmakers and people making stuff on Twitter, just like hanging out there. But Clubhouse is just, for me, is kind of an extension of that, but it's also much more, when you're on Clubhouse, you almost have to be kind of, at least when you're on the stage, you have to be kind of focused on what it is. Like you're paying attention, you're listening. And it's also crazy how, I've been in a couple of rooms with people from the No Small Creator Facebook group. And like, we've been in that group forever. We've been in that group for like 2 years, but actually hearing someone talk and talking to them in a group setting, it like really builds this connection. Right. So for me, that connection is the inspiring thing that helps get me through burnout. Before COVID, I would always say, if you can collab on a video, like work with somebody else, instead of, because so often freelancers and content creators, like we just get so in the zone just doing like solo video creation where it's just us alone. But even getting together and like shooting BTS for a photographer in your area, or taking it further and making a video together, or collaborating on a project for a client together. I know that that's not always easy, but that stuff for me is like, that's the stuff that fuels me and gets me back into what we're really trying to do and like what this is really about, that sort of thing.
That's awesome, man. So with this no creators thing, who would you say you've had the most impact on, or have you got a story of like a real feel good story about something you've had a good impact on with this no creator brand, no small creator brand? Sorry. Are you there?
Sorry, I was talking and muted. My bad. I'm a noob. I must be a Clubhouse noob. I'll tell you my favorite story that I have from this, because it's my favorite. But it's near dear to my heart because I was in New York City and I was working for a client, like making some vlog style videos for actually the school that I graduated from. This was in 2018, and making these videos for them. We're like visiting these different businesses in New York City, and the students were learning about, what it's like to work in New York City and stuff. And while I was there, I went and visited, or not visited, but I just went to 368, which is the office of this guy named Casey Neistat, who's a massive vlogger, daily vlogger on YouTube. And now he occasionally makes videos, but doesn't do his daily vlog anymore. But anyway, I was there and got to make this video where I like yelled across the street to him, and it was a cool video. But I was there and I checked the comments on my phone on my YouTube channel. At this point, I had been daily vlogging for 114 days, and one of the comments was just someone saying, "Hey Cody, just wanted to share this story with you. Not sure if you'll read this, but at this point I had maybe like 1,200 subscribers or something. So not a massive channel by any means, but was growing it. Got this comment from someone named Angela, and she was like, just want you to know, as a result of watching your videos and the encouragement, you like trying to encourage people to just get out there and make stuff and do stuff, I started making, like designing and fabricating my own jewelry, made an Etsy shop, and just got my first sale today. And for me, like, I remember calling my wife later that night and just telling her the story and saying, like, I could quit now and feel accomplished in what I was trying to do with YouTube, which was just to just help people get out of their heads and start making stuff, like just start trying. For me, like there's no such thing as a good idea. This is a guy named Mark Rudolph's concept, but no such thing as a good idea, right? Like you have ideas, and then when you put them out into the world and they collide with reality, you see all of the flaws in the idea and you iterate on it, and then you see the flaws in that iteration, and you iterate on it again. And like, that's what life, what creation, what business building, filmmaking is about for me. Is just like trying to slowly trudge through all of the bad ideas until you get to something that you're truly proud of, and to encourage somebody to get out of her head and start making and selling something. Like, I just got super hyped on that. And then, from that point on, as things continue to grow, I've gotten numerous DMs of similar stuff where it's just like, hey, that one video where you said this, like that stuck with me. I think about that a lot, and like it helps me get through hard times or something. Like that's the stuff for me that gets me fired up.
So where would you say that you actually drew your ideas from for your videos?
Yeah. I have ADHD, which is attention deficit hyperactive disorder. And basically what that means is I just get like 1,000 random thoughts at all times, like per hour, like just, it's very hard to focus for a lot of the time, which obviously, that can be a problem when you gotta just go heads down and focus on an edit, or like when you're on revision round number 7 for a client and you just like hate everything and you need to focus, but you can't because you're thinking about Breaking Bad and watching the next episode or whatever it is. Like ADHD, don't get me wrong, it can be super horrible, but that's where all of my ideas came from. I would just keep a notepad or the notes app on my phone, and these ideas would just pop into my head, and I'd write them down a lot of times in the form of a video title, if I could think of a title quickly. But really just getting it on paper was the most important part. And then but like, to break that down a little bit further, I had a small business, and I mean, I still have a couple small businesses, I guess you could say, but at the time I was growing this small video production company. And any challenge that I would come up across, like any interesting little thing that I noticed in Final Cut Pro, or if there was like a sales tip or something weird happened in a sales meeting, like that's where the ideas would come from, just my life and what was happening around me. And then I jot them down. But I'll be honest in saying that, like, for me, it was rare that I would have to go and look at that list in order to figure out what the video was going to be that day, because just I had so many constant thoughts and things happening that, like, I would wake up and I would already have another new video idea that wasn't on the list yet, right? So I'd normally just end up making that video. So yeah, idea generation was never really a struggle for me. For me, it was a lot harder to bring an idea to completion, to actually finish an idea. Like, you start doing something and then you just get bored of it and you abandon it completely. I've done that numerous times in my life. So that's my idea generation workflow. I know it's not helpful for everybody because not everybody has ADHD.
Nah, man, but everybody here, I'm pretty sure everybody in the audience has their own demons that they battle with, regardless if it's ADHD or other type of mental health issues, or maybe just even normal health issues. Everybody has a little bit of something they have to deal with. So you're not alone, my friend, for sure.
Yeah, and for me, it's like, that's a great point. And it's just like those demons, like, not trying to discredit them at all. Like, I'm not trying to say like, oh, their demons are actually good things. Like, they're not. They suck. It's horrible. But if you can force some good thing out of it, like, I just recently saw a TikTok, and this guy made this really rad cinematic TikTok around the idea of being depressed, and like, amazing hook in the beginning, amazing cinematics, like shot with his phone, but it's cinematics throughout, and then amazing payoff at the end of the TikTok, and like just a masterclass in hooking someone's interest and then getting them to watch the whole way through a video, which is what we're all trying to do on YouTube. And it was about being depressed, and I just was like, it just blew my mind. So if I know that demons suck, but if there is some good thing to force out of your demons and those disabilities or whatever you're struggling with, like, at least jot it down. Even if you don't make it right now, at least jot it down, because it's something that could be there for you to fall back on in the future.
That's great, man. So we'll carry on with the conversation here. I want to know, what has been the most important step in finding the voice for the No Creator brand?
Yeah, finding the voice for the brand, like, that's not really something I'm qualified to speak on. So for me, like, the No Small Creator is much more about the collective. You know what I mean? Like, it's like all of our voices. So it doesn't really have a singular voice, I guess you could say. But that said, I think it does need, anything that's a collective, it needs a bit of steering and some structure and some rules, like similar to how you run this clubhouse. So the other day, I was in here and I heard, like, you just hear some of the culture of the room come out. And I think that is something I could speak to. So culturally, like, what No Small Creator is in terms of like a culture fit is, you need to be encouraging, you need to not tear people down, and you need to just kind of like glorify the idea of creation, of taking something from inside your head and putting it out into the world. Like, you have to be down with sort of those concepts of encouragement and creation as almost like idolizing creating videos. It's a weird way to say it. I've never said it like that, but I think that I mean that. So yeah, that's the No Small Creator brand. But when it comes to voice, I think I could speak to that maybe more from finding my own voice as a YouTuber and as someone who's trying to like build a personal brand on the internet, if you want me to speak to that. But that's what No Small Creator is.
That's awesome. I like the fact that you mentioned it's everybody's voice as well. So I'm going to rephrase that question a little bit better. When did you start to notice that the brand was starting to find those voices altogether? When did you start noticing the shift in the momentum?
Yeah, man. Yeah, it gave me goosebumps just thinking about that, because that's like a crazy feeling to have that happen. But yeah, I mean, it started, the first video that I launched that I sort of explained the concept, it started there in the comments, people really resonating with it. And then I didn't want it to be a Facebook group. I wanted it to just be just kind of like a hashtag on YouTube, and we'd all kind of find each other there. But people were really craving like a place that's sort of offline, off YouTube, where you could connect and speak directly with other people who are trying to do what you were doing. So that's where the Facebook group was born. The crazy thing actually was I didn't even make the Facebook group. I was so stubborn that it shouldn't be on Facebook. I didn't want to make one. So somebody just made one and then made me the administrator of it, and like took himself off and was like, well, here's your Facebook group. So people started to join it. At first it was maybe, like 20 people. I feel like there was a time when it was 20 people and a super tight knit and like rad community, and then kept growing. And so like community kind of had to adapt, and some of those rules had to come in. I think it grew to about 70 people. And then I got to make a video with this guy called Peter McKinnon, who's a massive YouTuber. At the time, he had like 2.2 million subscribers. Now he's got like 5 point something million. But yeah, I made this video with him up in Toronto about the concept of No Small Creator. Like the point of his video that he made, which is still on his channel. It's a rad video. I go and watch it whenever I'm feeling like I need a little bit of a kick in the pants. I think it's called, I can't remember what it's called. Right now. But yeah, he made it, and it was about the idea that he doesn't think it matters how many subscribers somebody has. In terms of like, that's not a qualification he uses when he's trying to find people to work with or hang out with or do cool stuff with. It's not about that. It's about what have they made, who are they, all of that sort of stuff, not about kind of like the clout of subscribers. So that's what the concept of his video was, and I remember the name. It's called Do You Even Matter? Rad video that I was really honored to be a part of. And so once that video released, like, and in it he kind of asked me like, tell me about No Small Creator, what is it? So I gave the elevator pitch. And so after that, I mean, I don't remember exactly how many applications we got to the group directly following, but it was a lot. Like it might have been like 1,000 or 2,000 people came like directly from that. And yeah, then it just kept growing after that. And I'd say there were some people who were a really good fit for the vibe, and then obviously there's a lot of people who weren't a good fit for the vibe. And like, that's just all part of the growth of anything, right? So yeah, that was back in 2018 that all happened.
All right, cool. So what would you say to someone in the audience, or maybe one of these moderators here, would be like an important step or like important advice for somebody who's trying to create like the personal brand or get their channel like bigger? You know what I'm saying? Like a Gary Vaynerchuk kind of channel, someone like yourself.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot, man. I could tackle it from a million different perspectives, like facets of it, right? But and maybe in the Q&A section, which I'm super hyped on, maybe if someone wants to ask, I'll try to tackle it from a different side. But what I've been going with recently is just the understanding, like the mindset that growth of a personal brand isn't linear. It's gonna look like a flat line for like the first 100 or 200 days or videos that you create. It's not gonna, like, it's gonna take you quite a bit of time to build the foundation necessary to start to see growth. And then, but the crazy thing is, once you start to see the growth, it's not linear, but it's not flat. It's exponential. It's a curve. You know, it's like the GameStop stock the other week, right? It looks like a rocket ship. And so just understand that, like, you're gonna be applying so much more effort than what you are seeing in terms of results of channel growth or brand growth in the beginning. And like, that is totally normal. That is the normal way to grow anything. And it's all just foundation building. I think, you know, the biggest thing that blew my mind when I started the vlog was, and I started to see other people, you know, with smaller channels just starting out like I was. And really, this is more of a self-critique. I'm not trying to critique anybody else. Was just like how little effort I could put into videos, and like how not seriously I could take the growth of my personal brand, like as though it wasn't something that was crucially important and like had the ability to completely change my life, you know? And like, I even see this in videos. I see this in videos to this day that I make, where it's like, bro, you just phoned it in. Like, why are you treating this like it's some tiny little thing that doesn't matter? It's not. It has the potential to be a multi-million-dollar revenue stream for you. Like, please treat it like that, regardless of whether you're seeing those results now, because the longer you can, like, the more you give into it and the more you study it and try to understand how to build it and grow it, and the more you pursue it, like, you're gonna kind of get out that stuff that you're putting in. And that's one of the tricks is understanding that you're not going to get it out. You're putting it into this like incubator, and it's like growing in there, but you're not going to see any of that growth right away. And to be able to grind through that is something that I think all of us need to get better at. That is one of the 10 ways that I could talk about that question.
That's great. So I'll actually, on the top of this one question, how do you deal, or what advice would you give to someone who deals with maybe the online hate, or maybe is a bit scared of going online with their content because they're scared of hate or something like that?
Yeah, I was just talking about this morning. The internet is crazy. It's absolutely crazy, and it's just, you know, it's a conduit. It's like a forum, and so like, it's not good or bad. It can be used. It's a tool that can be used for good or bad. So like the hate obviously falls in the bad section, but like I think step one is just understanding that about the internet, that when you put yourself out there on the internet, if there is anything to pick apart or kind of point at, like I just posted a video yesterday, a TikTok video, and super rad. It's like 240 frame per second Skittles falling through the air, and it's super rad. It's a great video. It's 10 seconds long, and one of the comments is like, the nose hair ruined it for me. And it's like at the very end of the video, you can like see up my nose, right? And it is disgusting. Like I just responded, like I started trying to mask it out and I couldn't. I gave up, smiley face, right? Like, if there is any little thing in your personality, in your appearance, in the way you think about the world, that someone could pick out, they will pick it out and they will rib you for it. So just understanding that about the very nature of the internet, I think, is the first step. And then deciding to do one of two things. One is try to just let all of that stuff go. Like, just realize, hey, since this is definitely going to happen and happens to everybody, and this is just the nature of the beast in a sense, I'll just not care about it. But the flip side of that, or like the progression a little bit past that, is to actually try to enjoy some of that stuff, to actually try to to understand, if you've gotten to the point where now your audience is getting broad enough, wide enough, that there's people who are seeing this that don't like you and that are going to try to tear you down, like that is a pretty big achievement, to get to that point. It's something you see like in the No Small Creator group all the time. And some people, my friend John Eska from the group just joined the chat, so this is perfect timing. You see people posting stuff in No Small Creator, like, I just got my first hater, and like all of these, and they post the comment, and then all these people clapping on it, and like and so it happens a lot, so it can get a little bit overwhelming, and John is great at pointing that stuff out. But yeah, just seeing it as a positive, seeing it as a sign of your growth. That's one of the tactics that I've used. And then last thing I'll say about it, because it is an important topic, and I understand it is a thing that paralyzes a lot of people from making stuff. Last thing I'll say about it is really try to find a tight circle of people whose opinions you care about. So for me, there's this woman out in Colorado. Her name's Adrienne Ritchie. Like, when I'm making a video or editing a video or about to publish a video, I try to not think about all of the people who will see it and some of the people who might see it and hate it. I try to think, what's Adrienne going to think of this video? Like, will she think that this video is good? Like, does it live up to my standards? What would she say about it? There's another friend I have in LA named Alex Gassaway, and she's another one that I think about when I'm posting a video. Just like, try to just not only listen to the opinions of, but try to really place value and importance on the opinions of a small group of people that you have previously decided you will actually care about their opinions. Because then you don't fall into the trap of like not ever taking constructive criticism, or not ever getting feedback, or not ever growing, because like that stuff is important. But it is impossible and very foolish to try to take critique and criticism from literally everybody in the world, because like they don't get it. Like, most people don't get it. So yeah, find that small group and ask them for critique, ask them for input on your videos, or on whatever it is that you're making, and then try to see all of the other stuff, all the hate and all of the negative comments and critiques, see all of that stuff as just a sign that you're growing and then that you're on the right track.
All right, just staying on this topic for another couple minutes. Has there been a time that you've been affected by a hater, and how did you overcome it?
Yeah. Oh, totally. I mean, it's like, you can't, like, to this day, because I read basically every comment. I think I probably read every comment that I get. And I think just like as humans, there's some sort of like evolutionary reasoning for this. Like, when we were coming up in evolving, it was like really important to be accepted by the tribe, because if you didn't, then like you wouldn't get to eat. So we basically evolved this need to have everybody like us or something like that, so that we could eat and survive and stay alive. So there's like, it's impossible for a normal human being to completely not care about the haters and hateful comments and stuff like that. So to this day, when I read something, there was one that just happened recently that really got to me. Oh, it wasn't a hater, but it was a bit of a critique from another YouTuber, and I had posted the BTS shot from my most recent video on Twitter, but without posting like the result. So like, I totally agree with him. It's one of my biggest pet peeves that like someone shows you a BTS shot and then they don't show you like what it resulted in, right? Like I'm sure all of you agree that that is not a good practice, right? Well, I had done it as kind of a teaser to get people to come and watch my most recent YouTube video. And yeah, he just pointed that out. He's like, this is one of my biggest pet peeves. I hate this. Like I see it all the time on Instagram. Why are you going to show me the BTS if you don't show me the shot? And I just got down. Like at first I like muted the thread on Twitter because like all of these people were liking it. And he's like he has a much larger channel than mine. So like he sort of like broadcasted, and again, this wasn't his fault. It's what was he trying to do? And also I'm sure he just thought like, yeah, Cody's cool, he can handle this. But it was getting to me, and so at first I muted it, then I unmuted it because I just, I tried to realize that I'm an adult and I can handle negative things and whatever. But overcoming that stuff, like I think it just takes time at first, and then also maybe just some logging off, like remembering that the internet is like, it's just something that's in our pockets on our phones. And like, you can literally just turn your phone off and not think about it. And you could just live your life for the rest of your life. And none of this could ever matter ever again. Like you could get a job as a farmer or in a factory or, you know what I mean? Like literally none of this matters. So trying to think about, obviously I know that it all matters very much and it's how I make my living. And like, I get that, but trying to like, at the same time, hold this perspective that none of it matters. And you don't know these people and you have these people that love you and that you love and listening to their stuff. So just being around people that are fueling you instead of kind of, my kids are my one daughter's in kindergarten, and in kindergarten, they call it bucket filling instead of bucket dipping. Like get around some bucket fillers. You know what I'm saying? A little kindergarten life hack there for you.
Awesome. Listen, Cody, thank you very much for all your input and everything. It's been great having you here, dude. I'm going to open up the floor and one by one people can raise their hands for a Q&A. But again, Cody, thank you so much, bro. It's been great listening to your story, bro.
Super hyped on this Q&A section here. Let me I'm going to start adding. I'm going to tweet this out again and let everybody know that's Q&A. But yeah, bring it on. Let's chat, friends.
Fine. I'm going to shoot out to the audience real quick. Okay, you can raise your hand. We are going to be checking your profiles. If you haven't got an Instagram or Twitter that we can verify who you are, you will not be invited up because we are trying to avoid trolls in this room. So we'll actually go to there. So Jesse Ayers, let's see what we've got here. Yep, he's fine. So, is he coming up?
Yeah, morning.
Thanks for
having me. Cody, big time fan. You probably remember me on Twitter.
Yeah,
I connect with you every now and then. Really cool question for you. So, I also kind of had the same backstory as you, somewhat, where I, did the 9-to-5 thing, and then realized at some point that, that wasn't for me per se. Kind of wanted to get out there and do my own thing, sort of like a natural born entertainer, so to speak. So, YouTube vlogging and whatnot became like a natural path, and then fell into the whole, do every job that I possibly could just to make money. So I did the whole wedding video, wedding photo. Actually, I'm still doing that. So as creators, I think it's natural, or well, I guess I can only speak for me. It was natural for me to fall into the technical stuff, like, how to film slow motion, how to edit, how to take photos, like all the technical stuff. When growing in this particular space, like, because I see myself coming up, like in the same path as you, somewhat. What would you say to the business side of making money, acquiring money, all that stuff? Like, do you have any sort of advice, maybe maybe like a tip that would have helped you early on when you started your business that nobody essentially told you. Because I find myself getting into a lot of these little traps or loops or whatever. Like, for example, one is like taxes. Like, I suck at taxes, so I have to now go out and find, like a business accountant, somebody that'll help me, straighten up my books and everything like that. Would you have like one particular tip, like for like the business side of, the creators, up and coming, that would help them or help us essentially from falling into some, little stupid traps here and there along the way?
Yeah, man. The one about bookkeeping and help with taxes is super crucial. I was super grateful to have had a buddy who was an accountant, like a best friend who's an accountant from the get-go, and he started doing my books like almost immediately when we started building the business. That said, I did file my taxes for the first year that we had a business, and I did it wrong, and I got like a $6,000 fine from the IRS for doing it wrong. Got that fine like 2 years later. So 100% recommend either spending money or trading video services for a bookkeeper and accountant that can actually get your taxes filed right, because that is a super simple trap to avoid. It just costs a little bit of money to avoid it, but like, believe me, $800 on a bookkeeper for 1 year is a better feeling than $6,000 to the IRS for doing it wrong yourself, which is just still crazy when I think about that. But yeah, no, the biggest tip, I'm a salesperson by nature. I'm a very selly type person, which I don't have any sort of problem with. And I love seeing other people sell stuff. And I think there's like obviously right ways and wrong ways to do it. But when it comes to sales, something that I was never taught, but I really had to learn, firsthand, was just how small the like yes to no ratio is. It's really like if you send out 100 emails, like you'll probably get 10 responses and you might close one of those projects. Like you really do have to cast the net incredibly wide because of kind of the 1% success rate. And then whenever you do, bump it up and you're getting a 2 or 3 or 4% success rate, sometimes it can still feel like, oh my goodness, like this is insane. How is this so hard? How is anybody succeeding? But no, like you're above the curve. You're above the average if you're closing stuff at a 3% or 4%, or I think like my best ever month was like a 9% close rate, right? So it's like, just realize the amount of effort it's going to take to do anything, to get anything done in this crazy world that we live in. The amount of effort is way more than what we were taught or what it seems like it's going to be. So like, you just gotta really realize that like you've got so much more in the tank to give than you realized, and it's fine. Like, it's going to take longer. It's going to take more hours. It's going to take more early mornings and more late nights and all of that stuff than you ever imagined, but that's totally fine. Like, you're going to be able to do it. It's just going to take way more effort than you thought. That's kind of like my number one tip. But the bookkeeping tip, the tactical one there is super rad. Another similar one would just be, instead of just starting to accept money and putting your money into your normal personal bank account, don't do that. Just open up a separate bank account, even if it's another separate personal bank account, but just having like all of your business expenses in one account makes it really easy for then later on that year when you end up getting a bookkeeper for them to go through and you not having to figure out like, okay, this was business and this wasn't. Another similar one to that would be starting an actual LLC. I know that it's different in the UK. So maybe someone from the UK could speak to that, but starting an LLC is super simple here in the States, and you can do it on places like LegalZoom for as low as like $200. But if you can find a lawyer that you trust, it's going to cost a little bit more, but she's going to help you. The lawyer that we work with to start our LLCs. I think she charged more like $600 to get them set up right. But, you know, just the peace of mind, knowing that you've done that legal stuff that isn't your jam, like knowing that you have someone who's covering that for you helps free up your mind for the creative side of the business. So great question, man. Thanks for asking it.
All right, y'all, welcome to the room. Thanks, Cody. All right, we've got some new people in here. We got some people on the stage. It's always ladies first up in this content creators assembly. Miss Bukra, you want to say hey, ask a question to Cody?
Hi, Sheila. Hi, everybody. Hi, Cody. What's up? I just checked your IG, and this is super awesome. I love your content. This is like supernatural, authentic. You're such a human being, and that's what I love, actually. I started a YouTube channel like 5 years ago, and I was like doing something that it wasn't me, actually. So long story short, I'm from Belgium. That's why I have this accent, Frenchy accent. I'm a filmmaker from Belgium. And I launched this YouTube channel like 5 years ago, 5 years ago, sorry. And it was like no authentic at all. And the footage, the images were overexposed. Nothing was good enough. And I wanted to do like other YouTubers, right? And I didn't find myself peaceful with that kind of content. Then I decided to stop, and I kind of been in the introspection as a content creator, but on the side I was still filmmaking, you know, doing my job. And but now I feel like I wanted to go back with my YouTube channel and just telling my story. And you said that thing, Cody, you said that to put yourself on the internet, you have to, there is anything about your personality or how you see the world. And that's what I wanted to do. But what would be like the breakdown? What is the breakdown to come back again and put my personality or my, you know, my content my content on internet with with the authentic version of myself?
Yeah, I mean, in a lot of ways, this is a great question. In a lot of ways, I think you already have a bit of a head start, you know, because like you know what is inauthentic and like what doesn't work and what you've tried before. So like that's really good. That's what I'm talking about when I say like you have an idea in your head and you put it out into the world and then you're able to find out the stuff that doesn't work. Like we all need to go through that process. So in a sense, you have a bit of a head start that you already know at least one method and way that it didn't work for you. So that said, I really think like to find your authentic voice and who you truly are and who you kind of want to be and broadcast out into the world, you really do just need to like dedicate to pursuing that, but then B, in the pursuit of it, just try to put out, you know, like 2 videos a week or whatever it looks like, where you're in the pursuit of that, and it's gonna just take time, you know, like for me, it took 114 videos in a row until I saw one that I was like, yeah, I think I sort of hit the mark there. Like that seems like my vibe. That seems like who I am and how I feel and how I wanted to make other people feel. So it really is just a matter of like trying, failing, iterating, and just this whole thing of like what's crazy about YouTube and blogging and trying to be your authentic self on a channel is like it's very closely tied to self-awareness and kind of self-exploration and like trying to discover who you truly are. and then like, but also then showcasing that to the world. It's kind of a weird thing, but it is a beautiful thing, I think, just like in the development of a human being, if you're willing to undergo it. So my best advice is figure out, and this is much easier said than done. My best advice is to try, fail, iterate, and do that 100 times in a row.
Thank you so much, Cody. Can I ask a second question, Sheila?
You're pretty. Go for it.
Thank you. General question for you, Cody. Where do you see yourself in like 3 years? Yeah, in 3 years.
Yeah, in 3 years, I will be 38 years old, 37, and I don't know. I mean, I'm sure I'll still be making vids in some way or another. I'll hopefully be helping other people, like come up and make videos, collaborating with other people, and trying to use whatever I still have at that point to help other people do well. But yeah, somewhere still in the video space, making stuff, and working with brands that I think are doing cool things in the world. Career wise, personal life wise, I'll just be like being a dad and trying to have as much fun as I possibly can, because that's like I like fun a lot. So that's my 3-year plan. It's pretty broad, but it's kind of how I am.
Awesome.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Well, thank you. Sorry, girl. We're going to start moving people back down to the audience after we've talked, not because we don't love you, but just because we're going to keep it moving. Cody, thank you so much. I love this. Next, we have my buddy AL is in the house.
What it do?
AL,
Chillin', how's it going?
Introduce yourself real quick and then say hey to Cody.
Sure. Yeah, I'm AL, Allen Gibson. I'm out of Houston, Texas. I work at Sugar Hill Recording Studios, and I also got my own Folk Hero Productions company, in which I'm a musician by trade, and I've been doing music ever since like 8th grade, and I come from recording it myself, and then I would also do my own music videos, everything like that. So I'm nothing new about playing with the camera and all the editing and all that, but I got, I guess, pretty far into the music business side of what I've been doing as far as pre-COVID. I was trying to work concerts and always at the recording studio as well. So that's where I come from, the real recording world, and that's how I know Sheila. We worked on records as well, and that's basically my foundation. And I guess as far as what I've been trying to do recently, I guess right when COVID hit, I was actually in LA whenever COVID hit, and I just seen how like they shut down everything completely quickly. And so I seen how the world was about to vibe out. So, I came back to Texas and kind of shut my studio down as well, and moved everything to the crib, and started, I picked up a camera again because I felt like I could, pivot a lot of the connections and a lot of the talents towards, creating visuals. So that's what I've been doing with the Folk Hero Productions, and I've been just filming music videos for some of the clientele. And as far as my own self, I've been trying to do, little mini movies or some little scripted type deals. So what I've been trying to figure out is, as far as YouTube goes, I've been seeing a lot of people have more, I guess, their content seems like they're talking to a source or talking to the people or teaching something. And I'm wondering, should I start building my YouTube based on, teaching information, or should I dive into creating like the visuals and content that I was trying to make, like a movie type vibe?
Great question. I think it'll probably be easier to grow a channel based on the educational component of what you mentioned, of like you come on camera and you're like, hey, I just wanted to do a little behind the scenes on this music video I'm shooting. We're doing something interesting here, and thought, it might be worth taking a look. And then the interesting thing with like going that route though is that you can still end up on your channel like putting the finished music video, or at least having sequences from your videos, some of that more artistic creation stuff that can still go in the video. You can still kind of like scratch that itch that you want to make stuff like that as an artist. But yeah, it's harder to grow a YouTube channel like as a more obscure kind of artist just trying to make cool visuals than it is it's easier for people to find you and for people to understand what they're getting before they click a video when it's kind of more narrowed down and there's a target niche and there's like a specific thing that you're going to be covering in the video. So that's kind of how I would go about it. But by all means, like if growing the channel isn't your main goal, which like it definitely doesn't have to be. I was just talking to a couple friends on Clubhouse the other day about, do algorithms and the desire to grow, does that kill artistic expression? And I think in a lot of ways it does, because we have to, in some ways it's great because it turns it into a game, and it's like, well, how do I get my stuff in front of as many people as possible? And I love that. Like that's how I like to run my channel. But if you
exactly
just
like I was thinking trying to build my channel as a platform to be able to release other people's content, or like content that I've created for others as well. But I'm thinking, should I be more in front of the camera myself to grow the platform? Is what
yeah, I hear ya. I think you really could do it either way, but I do think that kind of the traditional way to grow a YouTube channel maybe is to have this sort of one anchor character that you are the one introducing these other people's videos, and stuff that you've made for them on your platform. Just that having that anchor is going to be the thing that sort of drives subscribes, because if it's just sort of a one-off and like you've introduced us to this band that you're working with or something, but they've got all their own social media, and if I really like the band, I'm going to go find them somewhere else, and try to follow them. But having you as the anchor point for your YouTube channel, that's the thing that makes the most sense to me. Not saying that it would be wrong to do it the other way. It just might be easier to do it with you as the anchor.
Amazing.
Awesome.
Thank you guys so much. AL, thanks for popping up here.
for sure, and I appreciate that for sure, because that definitely is going to help my perspective on growing. Thanks.
Awesome. We'll see you in a bit, boo. All right, and Cody, thank you. You're being the best bucket filler ever. We love this. People in the audience, please come raise your hand if you want to talk to the jumping Cody. And I know that we've got our awesome moderators up here. Elias, do you want to say hey?
I do. Thanks, Sheila. Hi, Cody. How you going?
Doing great. Thanks.
Good to hear. I just wanted to say thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule to speak to us today. I'm not familiar with your work, but I will be after this. I've been looking at your YouTube channel while we've been talking. I've been looking at your vlogs, so I'll be spending time looking at all that, I imagine, over the next few days for sure. So I just had a quick question for you. I was just wondering if you could, I don't know if it's an easy question or a difficult question, and I hope it's not too difficult, but anyway, I was thinking, what is one piece of conventional advice that we hear, out there, that you would disagree with quite strongly, that you hear kind of regularly from out there in the ether, that you would say, try to stay away from such and such, in your opinion?
What a great question. I should have had this prepared. There's this book called 0 to 1 by Peter Thiel, and it's one of my favorite books. And this is that's the interview question that he asks to all of the people that he works with. And it's like, it's I don't know, it's a really good question, but I thought about it before, but I can't remember what I came up with. Let me think. Give me a second here. Give me a second.
That's all right. Take your time. Take your time. You've got this.
All right. I think I got it. I have heard it said that it's not worth it. No, maybe, yeah, I'll say it a better way. I literally just heard this on Clubhouse the other day, that it's harder to become a successful YouTuber than it is to play pro basketball in the NBA. That is a commonly held understanding, or becoming a more commonly held understanding. And I completely disagree. I think that YouTube as a platform is in its infancy. TikTok, by all means, is in its infancy. Instagram, Facebook to some extent. Like, we are just starting to see what is really possible in terms of having a career on social media, you know, as a anchor driven channel where people come to watch you entertain them and teach them and all of that sort of thing. So I completely disagree. I think that the NBA, what's that called, metaphor is completely wrong. I think it's way harder to play in the NBA than it is to build a career off of YouTube and social media.
Great. Thanks very much, Cody. Like, it's almost like you're saying it's more established, I guess. That makes a lot of sense. Thanks very much for that. I appreciate it. Good luck with everything. Take care.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Well, I always travel in basketball, so I'd be a horrible player. All right. We've got some new faces here. We're going to go Reed, Joshua. That's going to be the order. So ladies first. Miss Reed, what's your question for Cody?
Hello, Cody. First of all, thank you for sharing. Before you mentioned about the little demons inside of you, and you mentioned depression is not the cool stuff. I totally agree, because as creators, sometimes we're struggling too much with ourselves, like the inside demons. And as the beginner, when I was a beginner like 7 years ago, and I feel maybe depression or some kind of little demons, they can bring us inspiration and help us reach a higher level. But after that, I just feel my life totally crumbled. And I just don't know how to deal with myself. Before creating everything, I think finding a balance in our lives is the most important thing as a human. So I really appreciate what you just told me. You told us about it's not a cool thing, and we do need to deal with these little issues. And what those things which didn't, how to say, didn't damage us will build us stronger. Because I also got little issues with myself. It's somehow like a drama. It's bipolar disorder. It's even worse than the depression. And it took me like 1.5 years to deal with the little suicide issues and the depression emotion. And sometimes it just drags you back to the dark point, to the dark area, and you don't know how to control it. It just comes back to you from time to time. And first of all, I would think maybe it's my problem, but after all those disasters, I found it's just something I cannot control, but I can try to make it better. For example, avoiding sad music, or avoiding to get myself into bad situation or awkward situation, which will drive me back to the bad mood, things like that. And I want to know if there's any other advice or suggestions you want to tell us creators about balancing in our personal life, of course, and the professional life.
Yeah, awesome. Thanks so much for sharing all that. I just was like applauding the whole time that you were talking, because I just think so often, for whatever reason, like, you know, when someone gets diagnosed with cancer, like the community rallies around you, and there's like websites for like support and all of that stuff. But for some reason, in like our advanced culture, we haven't gotten to that same place with like, you know, mental health, where it's like, you know, some of the very serious conditions that you just mentioned, like those are very serious things, but we as a culture and as a community, I don't think they're not as cut and dry. So it's like harder to talk about them, and you don't know what to say, and you don't know how to like treat them like the actual illness, like disease that those things are. So I think the first thing is just to throw it out there again, is like depression is extremely serious, and like there's wonderful doctors and counselors and therapists, and you know, like I just don't want anybody to ever feel like they can't reach out and seek, you know, professional help on this stuff, because it's like that's the level that it's at. That's where we need to go when we're experiencing stuff like depression or you know, any of these other things. And even same with ADHD. You know, I think it's sort of like in vogue to say like, yeah, I got ADHD, or I got ADD, or oh, my ADD's kicking in when I get distracted. But like, no, I get it. I'm not mad about that, but there is an actual like diagnosis called ADHD that's incredibly you know, debilitating. So first things first is always, you know, seek help, seek professional help, and keep on seeking it. If the first doctor that you find isn't, you know, doesn't click or whatever, keep on going and you know, get actual help. But yeah, that other stuff about work-life balance, I think I just think, yeah, it's just so crucial. And I you know, I love what you said about taking time to get that stuff in order. Like, I totally agree. That's priority number one. And yeah, again, for me, it always comes back to community and just logging off and not looking at analytics or comments or Twitter threads or Instagram reels or any of that stuff until I start to, you know, really kind of recenter and refocus on what's truly important on the life part of the work-life balance, you know, and just take time to do that stuff, and don't ever feel bad for taking time to do that stuff, because that's the most important thing. But yeah, thanks for bringing all that up.
Yeah, I'm just so glad to hear. Sorry, Sheila, I just disturbed you.
No, girl, we were just gonna say we're all giving you giant virtual hugs right now.
Yeah, because I really just heard a lot of stories about depression, and there are always some people that killing themselves during Corona because they cannot make money. The pubs and the clubs not open, so the dancers, they're starving, but they still got the bills. A lot of negative things, but now I only care about one sentence. It's only focus on the solution, not the problem. Because I got it so far before, I always thinking, okay, there are so many problems in my life, how can I deal with that? But finally, I fixed the little problem, because I found always focus, putting us in a, how do you say, the position of a victim can never help, because we do have to live our own life. The only way to fix all the problems is to fixing the problem. So that's
Amen, sister. Thank you so much for that. I know so many of us can relate, and it's just a very real thing. The struggle is real, but that's why we're all here. This Content Creators Assembly is where it's at. Big virtual hugs to everybody. Tap your mic, give some love. Cody, we're sending you hugs too, dude, for being here with us. All right, we've got some awesome other questions up here. We're going to go with Mr. Joshua and then Joe. Go ahead, Joshua. What's your question for Cody?
What's up, guys? So I'll try and keep it real quick, but just a little bit of context on my question is, I spoke about it before in the group, but I'm trying to start a podcast. Just the premise is just talking to other creatives about the things that inspire them, like what they're actually doing to make money right now. all of those kind of things, just everything that goes into being a creator or creative person. But my question is like what I'm kind of struggling with right now. I mean, found a lot of super friendly people on this app that are willing to come on, but the question actually is getting value for the people that are actually coming on as guests, because I know that the conversations that I'll be striking will be entertaining and really insightful for the people listening because of the type of things we'll be talking about, business, creative things, but like getting something of value for the person that's actually coming on to make it a little nicer for the guest, because right now there's not like, just being a podcast that's like starting up, there isn't really any value being brought to the person that I'm asking to come onto the podcast. So that's the thing I'm just kind of like back and forth with now. So I'm wondering if there's anything that you think might be cool for that type of thing.
Yeah, there's a couple different ways to think about it, and so I'm just glad that you're thinking about trying to provide value for the guests, because I do think that that's not something that is like at the forefront of most people's minds, but it's really smart to be thinking about it because you're probably going to get some cool guests on your show because you're even just thinking about this. But for me, something that just happened recently was I got invited to be on a podcast, and in the invite email, it's always very apparent whether someone actually knows who I am and what I do, or whether they're just sort of casting the net wide and they have like a form email and they're trying to figure out how to just get some people on their podcast, you know? So it definitely takes way more effort, but if you can do a bit of a 1 or 2 hour deep dive into some of the guests that you want to get onto, get on the pod, and bring some of that stuff up that you find about their, almost in like, you don't want to be creepy about it, but almost in like a creepy way where stuff and you make them know, like, I've done research, I will do research for the pod. I think that that's something that is just extremely valuable because, and this is part of the nature of the beast, I think, when it comes to being a guest on a podcast. But like, I definitely get asked the same questions, the same like maybe 5 questions on most podcasts that I get recorded on. And I think that is fine. It's totally fine because, in a lot of ways, like those sort of questions are important because you're going to be being exposed to new people and they need to, they don't know that they haven't listened to other podcasts that I've been on. So like in a lot of ways that's important, but just making sure to add in, stuff that this guest has never been asked and like just make the conversation really interesting and new and unique for that person so that they don't feel like they're just a broken record saying the same stuff on the same, like, almost makes you think of like the news media cycle where it's like you just have this PR kit that you end up sending out to everybody and they just take that and play it on their own channel. If you can make that conversation interesting and ask them intriguing questions that they'll like because you've done your research, that's going to be just an incredibly valuable hour that guest gets to spend with you, and it's going to leave a really good impression. And it's going to do a lot of other good things because they're probably going to end up sharing it out whenever you launch it because they're going to say, hey, I got asked new questions. Like, this is a really interesting thing. Listen to this. So that would be the easiest way that I could think that you could provide them value and do it in a really authentic way.
Well,
Thanks
Cody,
so much,
thank you.
man.
Yeah, thank you for your question, Josh, and thank you for providing all this value here on Content Creators Assembly. Woo-hoo!
Thanks so much. Yeah, just a little note quick before I get booted. Yeah, because it's just like that's really good advice, because just that thing that I've been thinking about a lot is like, for example, had I asked you or somebody else with a relative following, you draw an audience or whatever, so obviously there's value for me and anyone that's listening, but it's kind of hard to have that person also actually have value in being a guest and stuff like that. So thanks so much for that.
Absolutely. Thanks for asking your question. Everyone else down there, we're probably going to go for about, I don't know, another 30 minutes or so. So if you're down there, raise those little hands. Get on up here with all the cool kids. You guys are all the cool kids, no matter where you are. But anyway, all right, next we've got the fantastic Joe. What you got for Cody?
What's going on, guys? What's going on, Cody? Long time no talk, man. I just wanted to first off say, dude, the Skittles slow-mo shot video yesterday was freaking amazing. Just
Thanks,
the way
man.
Yeah. Also, I jump back into your videos every once in a while and like catch up on both channels, and like I came across the one where you gave back to the Harrisburg school district, like with the music teacher in the video. I thought that was awesome. I just wanted to like give a shout out to how you work with brands in that sense. And that's not the first time, obviously, but how you work out a deal, and you give back to the community and to just creators in general. I think that's freaking awesome. But also, this may have been asked earlier because I hopped on kind of in between, but just curious how like the video course is going that you launched at the beginning of the year, and also, will there ever be the return of the unicorn?
Thanks, man. Yeah, unicorn. I still got the unicorn costume. I actually just threw up a little Instagram story the other day where we were having a fun family time using the unicorn costume. So be sure to follow me on all the channels if you're into unicorn content. I'm not sure that it will ever. No, it surely will pop back up in a YouTube video at some point. So yeah, that Joe's bringing it back to like original CODY WANNER 2018 early days stuff, and I love it. Yeah, video course was great. So the reason I say is because it there's a Facebook group that's connected to it. So that Facebook group is cooking. We just did like a 2-hour long conference call the other day where we reviewed and critiqued 3 videos, and one of them he actually hadn't posted it yet, so I was able to like really critique it for retention and like be able to try to give it the best shot at cooking in the algorithm on YouTube. So that was really fun. It was like fun to just be able to like try to make a video better before it ever went live, and so that was awesome. But yeah, the course itself, I sold 67 of the course on the first 2 days of since launch, and then since I stopped I'm not really promoting it anymore. I haven't sold any more additionally since then. So but yeah, the 67 people, that's not true. I did actually sell one just yesterday, which is rad. But what was I gonna say? Oh, the people who've got it and taken it and given me reviews on it, they've absolutely loved it, and that's been so rad. Like it's a 45-minute course, and I wasn't sure exactly how it's gonna be received, but like to hear it positively affecting people and them feeling like they got their money's worth out of it, like that was rad, man. So thanks for asking me about it.
No problem, man. Thanks.
Awesome. Who doesn't love unicorns? Come on now. All right, everybody. Next, we've got Paul and then Nisantha. And after that, go ahead and raise your hands and jump on here. We'll also be getting some questions from our moderators. So, Paul, what you got?
G'day, everybody. Thanks so much. Big chops to the mods for hosting this group and hosting Cody. This is awesome. The opportunity to actually speak to you is amazing. So thank you, everybody, for that chance. Cody, I don't actually have a question. I'm actually just taking an opportunity. I was going to private message this to you, knowing that you probably wouldn't see it with all the messages you get. So this is just a divine opportunity. I just wanted to actually say thank you, because my younger brother is a content creator, and he was actually doing YouTube before me. I didn't know he was doing it when I started doing it. It's something that's brought us together. We've collabed on a couple of things through YouTube, which has been amazing. But he found you and the No Small Creator hashtag and the message that you were championing, and it had made just such an amazing difference in his life. It was something that really unlocked a new vision for the work he was doing, and really inspired him to really rethink how he was creating his content. And it was a massive shift for him. So voice to voice, because there's such power in the ability to actually say this with the voice. I just wanted to say thank you for what you're doing, the inspiration that you're creating, and you're doing amazing things. So thank you so much. It's awesome. I'm done.
Thank you, man. That means a lot. Thank you for saying that as Raph.
Awesome, y'all. Cody, did you have anything else to add, or if not, I'll move on?
Yeah, no, just like that stuff just blows my mind every time, and I just just super grateful. That's like just crazy. YouTube is absolutely crazy.
Yeah, that was beautiful. Thank you, Paul. Niz, are you there?
Hey, how you doing, guys? Yeah, I'm
I'm
here.
sorry,
Good morning,
can I call
everybody.
you Niz?
Cody, do you I remember hearing or like listening to you a while back, and you said you had a video production business. Do you still have that? And do you still actively work on it?
Yeah, so I do have a sort of video production business, but it's just freelance now. So it's just it's my own business. I don't have any partners in it. The one that I had when I started daily vlogging in 2018, I got bought out of that at the end of 2018. So I had it for 4 years, helped grow it and build it. I was a 50% owner in it, and we really just had a differing of vision in terms of like where we wanted to take the company. I wanted to go more sort of run and gun vlog style video, and my partners wanted to continue to pursue like more high profile, highly produced videos, commercial videos. So just a difference in vision, and was able to negotiate a very friendly and happy buyout for all parties involved, and I got bought out in November of 2018. So I don't have that first one that I started, but I do still have my partners as friends, which is more than I think every buyout person, someone who's gone under a buyout can say. So does that answer your question?
Yeah, it does. Thank you so much for sharing that. What would you suggest for someone that's starting a new video production business? Like, let's say that you were starting a new business and you didn't have your connections and like the following on like socials. Like, how would you go about doing it now in this 2021?
Yeah, one of the keys is to make some stuff, like maybe 5 videos that you really want to get paid to make that stuff for free. So whether that's like friends companies that you're making promos for, or nonprofits, organizations that you want to support with your talents, but like definitely still create a contract. Even though it's for free, there's still a contract, and in that contract you got to be able to Gavin was just talking about this yesterday in this room, but in that contract you need to be able to maintain complete creative control so that you can actually produce a video that you would be really hyped to produce for a future client, and get 5 of those under your belt as quickly as you can. Make sure they're amazing, exactly the sort of thing that you want to be working on in the future. Get that up on your website so that you have, a reel and a portfolio to be able to do that. But the other key component of that is, once you've completed those videos, those friends or organizations that you've worked with and you just made them this video for free, you got to ask them, who is one of your colleagues that needs a video just like this one I made for you? And they might at first say, oh man, thanks so much. Yeah, like I will think of someone, I'll send them over. And actually press that one time harder. Say, awesome, but if you had to think of somebody right now, who would it be? And 9 times out of 10, you're going to get an actual name from that person. You write down the name, say, awesome, can I have their phone number for a text or email address or whatever it is? If they say like, yeah, I'll send it to you, say, would you mind just getting your phone out and giving it to me right now? And then follow up with that person and say, hey, just made this video, just made this video for Tanya, and send her the video that you had just made, and say, she thought that maybe you'd be interested in doing one of these for yourselves, would love to discuss working on that with you. And that sort of referral sales is like one of the strongest ways to get new business and to start a business. So you need to be able to prove what you're able to provide for a future client by doing something for free. And then you need to leverage that free video into as many paid videos as you possibly can. And just understand that it's going to take way more effort than you realized it was going to take from the get-go, and just be willing to apply the effort and keep your head up, try to get in communities like this, and stay inspired, and chug through the hard stuff and the revision nights and all of the stuff. But yeah, man, that'd be my first tip.
Ooh, Cody coming through with the fire answers. Thank you. And thank you guys for your questions. That was awesome. All right, so we've got next Mr. Braxton, the moderator. Come through. What's your question for Cody?
Hey, Sheila, first of all, hat tip to you, madam. As big as Texas, you are awesome. Appreciate the energy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cody, I'm gonna make my question quick. I think a lot of people in here have ADHD, and hearing you talk about it, man, just makes my heart sing. I was diagnosed as an adult, and so I'm just kind of navigating my way. As a creator with ADHD, what are some like tips or systems that you have implemented to make your life run smoother?
Dude, I wish I just had I should write a book on this, but unfortunately, like, the reason I haven't written the book is because like it's so hard. It's just like I don't have a lot of tips. The best tip that I have for you is figure out ways to make actual consequential external deadlines. So what I mean by that is, like, if you set a deadline for yourself, there's not it's not super consequential if you miss it. Like, people with ADHD are very good at kind of like smelling BS, and like that's sort of a BS deadline is one that you've created yourself, because if you miss it, there's not really going to be many consequences. Whereas when you have a client and the client is sending you emails saying, where's our video? And you know that if you don't get this to them today, they're going to leave you a bad review on Google, or they're going to not refer you to their friends. When those consequences are the thing that drives people with ADHD. So figure out ways to make actual consequential deadlines for yourself. And that's one of the best ways to sort of kick yourself into gear, I think. The other one is just try to stay in as a creative cycle workflow as possible. So for me, daily vlogging was just this like perfect combination of external deadlines that I felt like I owed my YouTube channel a video, and I had to get it done. And also then just like this creative flow state of every day I was having to make something and having to push myself. And I just kind of love that adrenaline like workflow state. The other thing is I just had to, it had to be stuff that I was interested in. So give yourself, you've got your client work that you need to get done. Maybe you've got your YouTube work that you need to get done. Is there a TikTok or an Instagram story or reel that you'd be like really hyped to make? Like for me, I just did this one where like Skittles were falling in slow motion. It's like super ridiculous, but I was hyped on it, and I was excited to make it. So if you can find work that you're very passionate about, that's another way to sort of like hack that ADHD. But last one I'll say is you gotta work out, man. Like you need to sweat hard. You need to like do rigorous, like whether it's strength training or like interval training or whatever it is, whatever you're able to physically do, you need to exert yourself physically first thing in the morning, because for an ADHD brain, the chemicals that get released when you're doing hard physical exertion, like that's the sort of foundation that those are the chemicals that you can build a productive day off of. So those would be my 3 hacks that I have for you. I'm sorry I don't have more. I'm sorry there's no formula. Just know, like, we're in this together. We're struggling through it together, and like it's okay to get distracted. Write that stuff down, and then keep grinding. Just like let's just get this thing. Let's just get this thing done.
Let's just get it. Let's get it done. Yes, Cody. The struggle is real, right? All right. Thank you so much for that. And what a great question. I think a lot of us can relate. Jason, you still hanging out? What's your question for Cody?
Hi, Cody, again. It's me bugging you again on Twitter and on Clubhouse, and here I am. And I just had to say, the Skittles behind the scenes was almost enough to get me to join TikTok to watch the actual video. Anyway, my question for you is one of my biggest goals this year for my YouTube channel is to be more consistent and try and at the bare minimum get out 1 video a week. I'm a couple of days behind this week from when I wanted to put it out, but I'm still working on it. But I guess my question for you was, being the daily vlogger that you were in 2018 and doing it every day, but not so much now, do you ever feel that in the back of your brain, that forced, I've got to get a video out, even when maybe you're not feeling it, but you want to get that consistency, you want to stay there? And if you do feel that, how do you get beyond that? Or how do you relinquish that force and say it's okay if I don't put it out on Wednesday and I put it out on Saturday or something like that? What's your perspective on that?
I think and this is something that's definitely hard for me, is when you're not feeling it, and but you still want to be consistent and get something out on a consistent basis, but you're not feeling it. My advice would be, just take the tiniest first step towards completing that video that you can. Like, so often the paralysis comes like before the start, like starting is like the biggest hurdle. And then, there's been numerous times where I don't feel like editing, I don't feel like shooting, I don't feel like anything. But if like I just stand up and like put my phone down that had TikTok open and like put that down, and then stand up and like undo the first leg on my tripod and set up that, and then like I'll look over and be like, oh, I'd have to get that light set up. So you set up the light, and then like now you have the camera on the tripod, and then now you've hit record, and you start just like framing up the shot and seeing, tweaking stuff. And then before you know it, you've shot like the A-roll for the video or whatever. Just taking that first step, the tiniest first step towards completion is the most important thing. And then there is this fine line, between trying to perfect a video as much as you feel like it should be perfected before it's uploaded, and this fine line between like that and then just uploading something when it definitely isn't done and needed more time in the edit, in the hopper, to get closer to that perfection. Like, you don't want to never post it, but you also don't want to post it too soon when you could have done more, and just push the release date 1 or 2 days. So finding that fine line is definitely not easy, but I would say if you're going for quality over quantity, maybe push it like 1 round of revisions further than you were planning. Like something, bring it to No Small Creator, or bring it to my private course, the YouTube Foundations course, and say like, hey, this video, I was just about to post this video, I'm not posting it. Could somebody watch it and tell me what to fix about it? Like, tell me how, 3 things that I should fix about it. And then, get that feedback, make those edits, and then post it. That's sort of like the pushing things 1% further, 10% further than you were planning on it, that I think can really, help you get closer and make improvements. So I know that doesn't super answer your question. It's a roundabout way to answer it, but taking the first tiniest next step is my best advice there.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Cody. And thank you, everybody in the room. This has been great.
Amazing. Thanks, everybody, for being here. Yeah, y'all tap your mics. Boop, boop, Cody. All right, we've got Jesse on board. Jesse, do you got a question for Cody?
Yes, super quick question, Cody, and then I'm gonna hop off. Thanks for all your time. I know this is precious time, space for you, and everything like that. Okay, so this one's probably going to be the easiest question for you. It's actually a two-part thing. This is in regards to your Skittles video that you posted yesterday. Question number one: was that your A7S III that you filmed with? Because my goodness, like I have one, and I'm afraid to do stuff like that. If that is in fact what you did with yours.
Yeah, dude. A7S III.
Oh my God. Okay. Second question. So I have to fly out to Sedona, Arizona at the end of next month with a group of photographers, and we're going to do some engagement sessions. And I'm primarily going to be out there filming some like behind the scenes stuff. And so for TikTok, like I know that I want to put some stuff on TikTok, even though I'm primarily going to be filming everything like in landscape form, like for my own YouTube stuff. When you're doing stuff like for TikTok, because if I remember correctly, on your BTS video, you did in fact film your Skittles drops, filming that in landscape mode. Are you just filming that in 4K? That way you can, crop into the exact section that you want without losing the quality? Or like, how would you go about doing that? Because what I was thinking of doing when I go to Sedona is filming stuff in landscape and then filming stuff in portrait for the stuff that I know that I want to do in, for TikTok. But I don't know if that's just going to be overcomplicating things way too much. I don't know how you would approach something like that.
Yeah, so the best way to do it is definitely the way that you're planning on doing it, where it's like what the TikTok stuff is, so you're able to just shoot that in portrait mode and you just do it. But rarely, especially when you're shooting BTS stuff, rarely do you end up getting it right because nothing's planned. So you're shooting in horizontal and you just end up like needing that shot for whatever the TikTok is because like that was the banger shot or whatever with the best reveal or whatever. So yeah, I mean, the way that I did it for the Skittles video was I knew that I wanted the short piece, the 10-second piece, to be on TikTok, but I also was making that video for YouTube. It was kind of the making of video was for YouTube. So I just made the decision that I was going to frame stuff wide enough that I'd be able to, crop out this 9:16 section from the frame and just put that in TikTok. So most of it was in 4K, but the 240 frames per second stuff, the A7S III only does that in 1080. So
that's right. Okay.
The two slowest Skittle drops, that was 1080, but that was still filmed horizontal, and then just I cropped out that 9:16 section. So that when it comes to TikTok, like people are so used to seeing phone footage that even just the increased shallow depth of field that you get from a camera, like people don't care that you're upscaling and that they don't even notice, so I wouldn't worry about it too much.
Gotcha. Okay, perfect. Thank you very much, man. I appreciate it.
Awesome. Thank you. All right, so Cody, I guess that brings us to a question also that everyone is dying to know. When was the moment that your YouTube popped off and you started securing the bag?
Awesome. Yeah. So my first pop was this video that I did where I asked Casey Neistat this question across the street. I asked him if he had a second and he said no. And I kind of wrapped that whole experience into a video about how important it is to say no when you have, great focus on your goals and what you want. Like you can say no to things because you're saying yes to other things that you're actually focused on. So that video popped off a bit, and I think I got like 1,500 subscribers or something from that. So that got me up to 2,400 or so subscribers. And then the biggest channel overnight pop that I got was after I made a video with Peter McKinnon, a YouTuber out of Toronto, Canada, and he made a video on his channel. I made one on mine, and after he had like 2.2 million subscribers at that time. So when he shined that light on my channel, I got like 22,000 subscribers overnight after he dropped that video. And then like a week later, I got YouTube Creator on the Rise, and that was another like 10,000 new subscribers. And then so yeah, that was back in 2018. Couple of months after that, I started working with an agency, and they started feeding me brand deals, and I started getting sponsored videos. My first sponsored video was a company called Storyblocks, which is a stock footage company, and they sponsored a video, and so that's when I started making money, like an actual legit revenue stream from the YouTube channel. And that was, I think, October or November of 2018, and then I've been basically full-time YouTube since then.
Stage. What's up, Daniel? You got a question for Cody?
Hey, what's going on? Good morning, everybody. Cody, I do want to apologize because I just recently looked you up, and I didn't realize that you were the dude that was in Peter McKinnon's video. I have two questions I want to ask. So the last time I was in this group, I asked this question about quantity over quality, where I see it as quantity as Casey Neistat over quality as in Peter McKinnon style. Which style do you recommend would be the best to get more attention in your channel, especially for someone like me that wants to do filmmaking and cinematography, vlogging, talking about lifestyle and photography, filmmaking. And the second question is, I know when you made that video when you were reacting about Peter, how did you really react when a big time YouTuber actually wanted to collab with you?
Yeah, man. So bit of a false dichotomy there, I think, when you said quantity versus quality as Casey Neistat versus Peter McKinnon, because undeniably the quality of storytelling on Casey Neistat's channel is like superior to all storytelling. maybe that's going overboard, but like it would be a false dichotomy to say Casey is quantity and Pete's quality. They're both incredible quality, and Casey is just he was just doing it for 700 days in a row, just a different style of storytelling. So I do think that like the way I'd address the question is you're maybe asking more about like, should I focus more on production value, cinematography, or should I focus more on kind of how often I post videos? And I think you just want to find the happy medium. Like if what you want your channel to be designed around is cinematography and production value, then yeah, like by all means, you're going to have to take some more time on those videos and make sure that and make sure that they look good. But definitely do not do that at the cost of storytelling and I call it hook, adventure, payoff. Like every video, whether it's highly produced or not, needs to have a strong hook at the beginning, a solid action adventure arc that gets you to a payoff at the end of the video. That's the way to keep a viewer retained, right? On a YouTube video or on a TikTok or an Instagram reel, or really even an Instagram photo, even though that's a slightly different conversation. But yeah, that would be my answer to your first question. And I think find the happy medium. And just the other thing when it comes to quantity versus quality is releasing stuff in quantity is one of the best ways to grow and develop quality. The story that I say, which is like, I think it's true, but I don't know. It's like a bit of a myth at this point. I don't even know if it's real, but there's this photography professor, and he gets a new photography class, and he tells half the class they need to take a photo every single day for the entire semester. And at the end of the semester, they can hand in their best photo that they've taken that semester. And then he tells the other half of the class, you study photography, you study all of the greats, you study cameras, you just figure out how do you take the best photo in the world. And then on the last day of class, I'm going to ask you to take that shot, take the best photo in the world, and then hand that in. And hands down, the people who took a shot every single day, the photo that they handed in at the end of the semester was far superior to the ones who just studied and tried to make it their best shot and only took one shot, right? So take as many shots as you can, make every shot, every video 1% better, and release quantity, and that's how you're going to get to that quality. In terms of how it felt when Pete reached out, so he shot me a DM on Twitter, and I was actually filming this. It was raining, and I was filming this like water droplet sequence for one of my vlogs, and my phone buzzed, and I looked at it, and I thought it was like fake. I thought it was like not Peter McKinnon, and I read it, and then I went and checked, and it was actually his profile, and I flipped out. I was so hyped. He actually put I sent him a video response. Like I hit record on my phone right after I read his message, and I sent him a video response to his message, and he actually put that video message in his video. So if you go and watch the Do You Even Matter video on Pete's channel, you'll see my actual literal 100% real response. And I was freaking out. I was super hyped because I knew that it was a huge opportunity, and also I just I really liked him as a person. I was hyped to get the chance to meet up with him. So it was, yeah, man, I was ecstatic. It was a surreal moment for sure.
Sweet. Thank you. And thank you, Daniel, for asking your question. Yes, as artists, it's so important to have a daily practice. All right. Raj, are you there? This is going to be our last question. We've been hanging out with Cody Wanner, and you have something to ask?
Yeah, hi, Cody. I got disconnected in the middle of the Q&A, so I'm not sure if you answered this question. But I heard you said that you met your wife in film school and all of that. But if that wouldn't have happened, film school, if you take it in isolation, do you regret it? Because, you said that the people who take a photograph every day instead of studying how to take a photograph end up with a better shot. So, do you just regret going to film school or not?
Yeah, I don't regret it. I think it's one of those things where it's like, I don't think you realize how much you learn. So it's easy for me to it would be easy for anyone to say, don't go to film school. Like, you can learn everything you need to know on the internet, but just so often you don't know what you don't know. So you don't even know how to find the stuff to research to learn on the internet. Not to say that that's the wrong way to do it. It's not. And I totally believe in, self-growth, self-learning, all of that stuff. But no, I don't regret going to film school. I'm also just not much of a regrets person. One thing that I do regret is not making way more in film school. I got you know, I wasn't required to make a daily video or to make even a weekly video or anything like that when I was in school. But there were peers of mine who were constantly working on projects, and I was just hanging out, having a fun time in college, you know? So I definitely regret not applying the practice more early on in my film career. But no, I don't regret film school. I think it's like anything. I think you can, you know, it is what you make it. And unfortunately for me, it also made like $80,000 worth of college debt. So that was a bit of a bummer, but I don't even, you know, even that I think was worth it. So just milk it for all it's worth if you decide to go to film school. But do your own self-taught learning and practice while you're there. Like, don't just rely on them to give you the skills that you need, because, you know, they don't know everything that you're going to need in this landscape of like solo video creation and running a business. So make your own stuff, practice as much as you can outside of school. But yeah, if you go to film school, then just get everything you possibly can out of it.
Thanks so much.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Cody. Thank you, Raj, for your question. Sorry, dude. I didn't mean to cut you off, but we're moving through real quick. We are so excited that you guys came to join us here at Content Creators Assembly. Cody, it's been an honor having you here today, dude. So invaluable. And everyone down in the audience, you are so loved. We see you down there. Normally we run this room as an open room, so come back anytime. Today was special because we get to be with the dude, Cody Wanner. All right, so I'm going to throw it back to my main man, Will. You in the studio?
Yeah, I'm here. Cody, dude, thank you so much. Thank you all, everyone in the audience who came up and spoke. Thank you, everyone, being so patient with the room. I can't thank everybody enough. Before Cody leaves, I'm going to ask him for one thing. Cody, I want your best. Secure the bag.
Secure the bag.
Secure the bag.
Secure the
Thanks so much
bag.
for having me, Will and Sheila.
My guy. Thank you very much, guys. We're going to open up the floor and let everyone just come on stage and do the normal thing. Cody, you don't have to stick around, but if you want to, you can do. Guys, the floor is open. I'm going to go take a little break from all this. It's been amazing. Like, I can't thank you guys enough.
Thank you, Cody, dude. Killed it.
Kill the recordings off. We're done recording. Thank you very much. And yeah, let's have a party.